Live from our 7 Tasmania studios, your nightly news with Louise Huber begins now.
Good evening, everyone. Cosgrove High School will be closed to staff and students tomorrow after a devastating fire ripped through one of its classroom blocks. Police are investigating the blaze and are treating it as suspicious.
Thick smoke billowing into the air, raising alarms around GLENORCHY. The source, Cosgrove High School.
Come out onto the street and there was ash sort of falling like snow, and turned around and a big plume of black smoke coming from behind the house, and wandered down the back, and unfortunately the school was well alight.
Richard Stewart's house backs onto the school. He says flames stretched high into the air as surrounding trees also caught alight.
Being a pine tree, it burned pretty well, so they were definitely probably twice the height of the buildings, but didn't last very long.
The fire brought under control quickly, but this block of classrooms was unable to be saved.
Unfortunately, there's been some significant damage to the actual building. At this stage, we're treating the fire as suspicious and conducting investigation. Investigators
remained on the scene throughout the morning, some undamaged furniture able to be salvaged.
It is a building that is occupied by staff and also for classrooms, so it's a pretty significant loss in the sense that they do have to relocate some of the students here to another building, which is going to take a little bit of time.
Parents have been told not to send their kids to school tomorrow, with concerns raised over asbestos in the building. In a statement, the principal said the fire is devastating to the school community.
Yeah, I can't think what the kids and the teachers are going through, so yeah, a bit of a sad occurrence, unfortunately.
There are many people in our community who've been through Cosgrove High School, and we stand with the Cosgrove High School community today.
The last thing this school needed after an already disruptive year. Meg Sydes, 7 Tasmania News.
Military memorabilia has been damaged after a ute ploughed into the front of a veteran support centre in St Helens last night. Police say the vehicle lost control and smashed into the front of the East Coast Veteran Information and Support Centre. The engine bay of the ute caught on fire before the flames spread to the front of the building. More than $20,000 worth of damage was caused. Police believe alcohol was a contributing factor in the crash. CCTV has captured the dramatic moment a car flipped onto its side in Launceston overnight. Police say a 24-year-old man allegedly evaded officers after undergoing a random breath test before running 2 red lights, clipping another car and coming to a stop on Wellington Street.
Yeah, that vehicle hitting another vehicle side on or hitting a pedestrian, even at 30 or 40 kilometres an hour, that's extremely serious.
The driver is facing a string of charges, including exceeding the prescribed alcohol limit and reckless driving. No one was injured in the incident. The decision to build the new Spirit of Tasmania vessels in Australia has been labelled the worst economic decision in 4 decades. Economist Saul Eslake is warning there is no local option, and searching in vain for one could cost the state hundreds of millions.
Costing more, arriving later and less reliable. Economist Saul Eslake argues the state government should scuttle plans to build the new Spirits in Australia.
Why would they make what seems to be such a risky and potentially disastrous decision?
His report, commissioned by Labor, warns of delays, leading to a yearly financial hit of $350 million. As for capable companies,
we have never built a ship of the size that's envisaged for TT Line in Australia, be it out of steel or aluminium.
Western Australia's shipbuilder AUSTAL is bidding for the job, proposing to construct the hulls in Asia and fit them out between WA and Tasmania.
Build the hull in Asia, bring it down as quickly as we can to Tasmania, and do as much of the work in Tasmania as is possible to do.
Mr Eslake says the risk isn't worth the extra jobs in another state.
Yeah, what have the Western Australians ever done for us other than bitch and moan about GST shares and call us mendicants?
Labor adamant the government should stick with the European build.
Instead, what we have is a fantasy project pushed out till beyond 2028, and that will cost jobs.
A task force is still examining options and is expected to hand down its advice soon.
I'm not going to preempt what that advice is, but we're not going to make apologies for exploring every single way that we can create more jobs here in Tasmania.
A promise it now has to keep. Sean McComish, 7 Tasmania News.
A 22-year-old Launceston man has had his motorbike impounded after allegedly travelling almost 90 kilometres an hour over the speed limit. Police detected the learner rider doing 167 kilometres an hour in the 80 zone on the Old Midland Highway at Palranna yesterday afternoon. He's been charged with a range of traffic offences. In the lead up to next month's Launceston Running Festival, some Tassie athletes have taken flight. A 5-kilometre course on the Launceston Airport's tarmac was the battleground for the handicap running event, being shut off for the one-off event.
Yeah, we've never seen one like this before. In fact, it'll be a rare moment that we've actually had runners on the runway and we've had the airport closed for an hour for an event like this. It's really exciting.
Well, I tried to go out for about an 18-minute. I actually forgot to stop my watch, so I don't quite know what I did, but my PB's about 21 and a half, so if I've ran any faster than that, I've done well.
11-year-old Ava Eccles was the first woman across the line. A strategy to see more women on Tasmanian boards and in leadership roles will be extended for another 5 years. The state government says the push has led to changes as business leaders argue more needs to be done in male-dominated industries.
Throughout our term of government, we have seen an increase from around 34% to over 46% representation of women on government boards and committees.
We've got to overcome fear. We've got to overcome what we perceive is holding us back. We've got to overcome social norms.
$400,000 will be spent on the campaign over 2 years. Evandale's verandas have taken centre stage this weekend as the spotlight was shone on folk music. It's the inaugural Veranda Music Festival with 24 performances held on front porches across the historic town.
A band playing instruments made of leather. That's not something you see every day. But it's par for the course at Evandale's Veranda Music Festival.
This is 100% cowhide except for the saxophone mouthpiece, and it's called a bow horn.
The town's affection for veranda performances started during the COVID lockdown. It's now grown into a fully fledged festival, and it's alive with the sound of music.
People have come out in droves, and yeah, just a wonderful atmosphere. We've been absolutely amazed with the lineup we've been able to get along.
On that lineup, a world-class harpist who plays the hits.
I love the sound of the harp, but I really enjoy playing music that I love, and it just so happens that music I love is more contemporary songs. I use a loop station and guitar effects pedals and like to experiment with different ways of making sound.
Organisers are hoping their efforts to pull the strings for this edition are just the beginning. Josh Duggan, 7 Tasmania News.
In a sour end to their WBBL season, the Hobart Hurricanes have lost their final match against the Sydney Thunder to cement their place at the bottom of the ladder. The Canes posted 9 for 115 in their 20 overs, but the Thunder chased it down easily to win by 6 wickets.
Thunder got on top early here in the power play against the Hobart Hurricanes.
The Stars and Scorchers face off on Wednesday in the semi-finals, while the Heat and Thunder will meet on Thursday. The state's best amateur golfers were trying to make the cut today at Mowbray Golf Club. Tasmania's amateur championships attracted a strong field from not only the state, but the mainland as well.
Some of the major events have been suspended or postponed. So this is one of the first ones to be back on the calendar. So therefore, a lot of interstate players have come down to play. They've been starved for golf.
It's a bit inconsistent at the moment. I'm hitting some really good shots and some really bad shots, but overall, pretty happy with how I'm going.
After 3 rounds, Tasmania Golf Club's Mackenzie Wilson led the women's competition, while Lewis Devildar from Queensland was ahead in the men's.
Good evening. Launceston reached a high of 23 today, 21 across Hobart and Devonport, Burnie 20. 25 was the state's top at Strawn, 20 about Low Head and Grove, and Flinders Island 23. On the close-up, low cloud across the state with thinner high cloud about the north and east. Further out, cloud and thunderstorms associated with low pressure troughs can be seen over South Australia and the southeast of the mainland. Tomorrow, the inland trough moves across the north and east of the continent while a high forms to the south of the Bight. Southeast to southwesterly winds tomorrow 10 to 20 knots, swells up to 2 metres in the west and south and below 1 metre in the north. A strong wind warning is current for northwestern coastal waters from Sandy Cape to Stanley. Tomorrow's forecast now: Hobart and Dover 20 and partly cloudy 24 at Ouse. In the north, partly cloudy across Launceston and Devonport, Scottsdale showers. Burnie and Stanley tomorrow 23, partly cloudy in Strawn. St Helens and Swansea partly cloudy and Ross 23. The UV forecast is very high across the state with the sun setting at 8:21 p.m. Looking ahead to the 3-day forecast, Tuesday showers about the north and northeast, clearing in the evening. Wednesday fine apart from light showers about the west, and Thursday showers about the west and far south, clearing by the evening. Capital cities 35 and sunny in Perth tomorrow, Adelaide partly cloudy and Darwin expecting a shower or two. And currently Hobart 19 and mostly cloudy, Launceston 21 and cloudy, and Devonport 17 and mostly cloudy. That's all for weather tonight.
And that's all your news for this Sunday evening. Thanks for joining us. I'll be with you tomorrow night. Have a lovely evening. Good night.
you.